I'm Peter Kalmstrom of kalmstrom.com Business Solutions. In this demonstration, I'll show you how to calculate your home costs, something that every homeowner should really know how to do. I'll show you how to do that from scratch here in Excel 2013, but everything that I'm showing here can also be used on earlier versions of Excel. As you see, I've filled out some of the information. I have the financing costs and the other yearly cost here, and I just have to fill in these formulas and do the math here. So I'm going to start with the home tax, and of course the home tax is the same as property tax here, and it's based on the home value. So as usual, when you're doing a formula in Excel, you need to start with entering the equals sign. That tells Excel that the following is something to be calculated, something that Excel should do the math on. So I'm going to do the property tax here is the home value multiplied by the property tax. And as you see, Excel 2013 here is showing these numbers, and I'm multiplying by using the star symbol here. And then I'm just going to press enter, and of course I get the sum there. I'm going to continue with the next formula. That's very similar to the previous one. The interest is the loan amount multiplied by the interest rate. And again, I'm entering the equals sign and doing the loan amount multiplied by the interest rate and pressing enter. The repayment should of course be the repayment of the loan. Here we go. And the repayment is of course the equals again, the loan amount divided by, and that's a forward slash I'm using there for the division sign, and the loan term is 40 years. So that calculates that I have to repay here 20,000 per year during those 40 years. And the other cost, I've added a little arrow here to show that those are the yearly cost here. So I'm gonna do equals here. Several different ways of doing this one. You can do the simplest one with just pluses and just do that one plus this one, but of course that becomes rather long and tedious after a while, so I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna tell Excel to do a sum of the numbers here, equals sum of, and from this cell, colon, which means to that cell. So calculate the sum of B11 to B16. So what that's doing there. Calculate the sum of B11 to B16. I'm going to do the same thing here now with the total. That's going to be the total of these three. And again, I can do the same thing. Calculate sum of these three. And as you see, E4 to E6. I'm going to actually cancel that now by pressing the escape key on the keyboard and show you another way of doing that, and that's using this auto sum button right there. And if I click that now, I get a suggestion, but as you see, that suggestion is all wrong, so I actually need to correct that suggestion by simply clicking on the correct cells. So that's two different ways of doing it. Let me show you a third way of doing the same thing here. There's actually a sum function guide up here, which you can use to just insert a function, and now I already have the sum in there. But if I started from scratch, let's delete that again, pressing the delete key on the keyboard, just pressing the function, and as you see now, I can find a list of all the functions that are available in Excel, and there's a huge amount of functions available, and depending on how much math you know, you'll probably find a lot of them that are useful for whatever math you want to do. But I'm just going to do the sum here, which is the simplest one really, sum, and here I can just do the numbers that I want to do a sum of. And this dialog is slightly different than most dialogues because you can actually select information behind the dialog. That's very useful. So that's how the function wizard works. Now for the monthly costs, which is of course also interesting information to know, you want to do a division again. You want to divide the year values by 12. In most cases, I recommend not entering any values like that because they might change in the future, but in this case we can be relatively certain that the number of months in a year will not change anytime soon, so we can type in the 12 in that case. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the next one. The one to the left divided by 12 again. As you see, these are the same things, and Excel actually knows that. So by default, Excel uses something called relative references. So this formula here, E4 divided by 12, is actually read out by Excel as the cell to the left divided by 12. So now if I copy this formula here, just copy that and paste it down here, you see the formula is E5, the cell to the left divided by 12. And I can fill this down, and that's of course the same thing as copying the formula down 2 more times. And as you see now, the cell to the left divided by 12. Same thing here, the cell to the left divided by 12. And of course this one I don't need, so I'm going to remove that one. Now we're actually done with the formula part of this demonstration, but I do want to tidy this up a bit more. And one thing that I want to do is make sure that this actually look like mounts. So I'm going to select the cells and then just change the number format to dollars in this case, and then decrease the number of decimals. Again, I'm selecting the cell, changing to dollar formats, and decreasing the decimals like that. Now that I've done that a couple of times, I can actually copy that format too. And this button does that. I can click on it and just click the next cell here. And as you see, it copies the format, both the dollar value and the number of decimals that we want, 0. And I can do that now with all of these. One way to do it is of course to paint over all of them like that. Another one that's rather cool is that you can actually double click this button, the format painter. Now that's stuck, so I can go ahead and click these, all the ones that I want. Same thing for all of these. And now of course you see it's still a format painter here. To get out of that mode, you do the escape key. Now I'm not in the format painter anymore. Another thing that you might want to do is distinguish those values that you might want to change from the ones that you should change if something changes in your calculation here. This one and all of these were formulas in the beginning. I would recommend using the cell styles, and there are actually cell styles that are already defined here. This is a calculation, right? So I'm going to go ahead and change that one and all of these to calculations. Same thing with the other values here. They're not calculations, they're inputs. So I'll go ahead and change that to input right there. And same thing with all these inputs. That makes it very obvious for everybody what can be changed and what should be changed. This concludes this demonstration. Thank you for watching.